Hi, Anastasia Guspin here with Hummingbird Health Synergy, and I'm going to be starting a short YouTube series on sharing what I call Koga, which is basically a movement meditation. I'll share the story of how I fell into Koga and how it came to be, but basically I love it because it finally allowed me to find a way to exercise that I actually enjoyed, that I actually look forward to doing, and that my body actually loves. I also love Koga because none of us have enough time, right? And we know all the things that are good for us to do, and sometimes finding time for all those things is hard to do. I love Koga because it actually brings together a lot of practices into one. So meditation is very important because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. If you've heard about meditation and the benefits of doing it a lot, the benefits are all true. We need to get out of that fight or flight response. We need to get out of that anxiety response and get more into the quiet being response. So activating that parasympathetic nervous system through meditation is good because that's when the body knows that it doesn't have to fight the tiger. It doesn't have to fight the offensive email we just got. It can just go within and work on healing and work on repairing and working on cleaning out toxins. So we want more meditation. Also, movement is extremely important. The cardiac system, all the veins, has a pump. It has the heart that takes care of making those fluids move in the body. The lymphatic system, however, the lymphatic system is the one that's involved in removing toxins and waste products and all the sludge from the body. That has no pump. It has no pump counterpart like the heart. So our body is the pump. When we move it in any way, we are the pump of that system. So that's why moving the body is so important. And you've probably also heard that spending time in gratitude and appreciation has huge impacts in our mental well-being, which then turns into our health, our physical well-being. So all three of these things are very important, and Koga brings them all together. I'm basically, when I'm spending time doing Koga, I'm getting all three of those things at once. And there's just that power in that, and that's what I love about it as well. So I wanted to share a bit of the story of how Koga happened. And it was by accident, really. It was actually through injury. So Koga, I think, will be relevant, or could be relevant, to people like me who don't have bodies that are really designed for hard workouts and all the strenuous physical workouts that are so popular today. I come from an autoimmunity background. I've had a lot of aches and pains and struggles and suffering throughout my years, and I wasn't really geared to exercise like other people, but I didn't accept that. I had always forced my body that it should do what media says it should do. I need to exercise harder. So I always pushed my body harder than it wanted to go. I was always doing workouts that didn't feel good, and they felt horrible. Like I had to force myself to do them, and then they felt horrible while I was doing them, and they felt even worse after I was done. I mean, I annihilated after I was done working out. So all these things, like my body was saying no, 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 and my mind is like, yay, good job, you exercised. And somehow I thought that was going to lead to health. So I was always pushing like a boulder uphill, and I felt like I was always pushing that boulder. I never actually got anywhere. And so I was doing a Jillian Michaels workout, and I love Jillian Michaels, but it wasn't right for me. And I blew out my knee. It dropped me to the ground, hurt like all bejesus. And I was messed up for 6 months, I think. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even go upstairs without feeling like my knee was going to shatter into a million pieces. So for the first time, I couldn't exercise the way that I always had exercised. But I knew that movement was important, and I knew that I liked to meditate, and I knew that coming into my body was good. So for the first time, I stepped back and said, what can I do? I'm hobbled, but what can I do? And so I started, it was a seated exercise, and I put on music, and I basically just dropped within my body, like completely removed the thinking mind, because The thinking mind would have thrown this out with the garbage because it wasn't burning enough calories and it wasn't building enough muscle. It wasn't enough of a workout. So I would have dismissed it. But for the first time, I couldn't do that other thing that I judged to be good enough. So it's like, well, what can I do? So I allowed me to do this teeny, insignificant amount of movement. And what I found was shocking because unlike the boulder that I was always pushing uphill, this was like a teeny, teeny, teeny little snowball that was rolling downhill. And because it was rolling down the other side, it started to gain momentum on its own. So instead of me always forcing myself and shoulding myself and demanding that I go do something or else I will mentally berate myself for not doing it, instead it was something that had its own momentum and it grew on its own. And I found that I liked to do it. For the first time, exercise wasn't something on my to-do list that I had to beat myself up and force myself to go do. It was something that my body was drawn to do, like a good little itch where it's like, oh, I want to go do that. I want to turn on some music and lose myself in the movement. So over time, because I actually was drawn to do it and I naturally wanted to do it, then over time it became more. The movements got bigger, the core muscles built up, the fluid flexibility came back to my body, and the range of motion include, you start with the center, you started as a seating exercise, but things got better and my knee eventually got better and eventually it became a full body expressive exercise where I'm always just dropping into my body and just doing what feels good. So all this time you're spending not thinking, not judging, not shoulding, but just being in the body and only following what feels good, what feels intriguing. We have over 600 muscles in the human body, and it was not meant to exercise in this repetitive, grinding, unbalanced way. A lot of our popular exercises, they constrain the movement to this rigid, repetitive, lockstep manner, and then do that over and over and over again. So there isn't balance there. The body wasn't meant to do just this and just this and just that angle when there are so many different angles. Like, it's fascinating how many different ways the body can move. I've been doing this for well over a year, and it seems like every time I do it, it's like, wow, that combination is new. I've never moved my body in just that way before. So it's been this fascinating experience into myself and spending time instead of, if you're somebody else like me that has a chronic inflammatory problem, then you can understand when I say, yeah, we spend a lot of time realizing all the things that hurt, realizing the things that aren't working the way that we wish that they were. And this is the antithesis of that. This is about focusing on only what feels good and following what feels good and appreciating everything that still works, everything that is still working for you, even if you have to stay as a seated exercise. Absolutely. Because if you could still move your spine and your arms, it's like, then that is still working. And enjoy it and embrace it and drop into that music and just be with it and enjoy it again. And you might be amazed at how much fluid life can come back into your body. So that's the background behind Koga and how it got started. And I never thought that it would become something that I would do forever. But I love it, and I actually at this point don't think I'll ever go back to exercising in that repetitive, do the same thing over and over again, counting, oh, I haven't done enough reps. All of that is coming from a place of judgment, saying my body should be able to do 20 of something. It's like, well, what if it doesn't want to that day? Koga is about listening to your body. And what surprised me the most is that your body actually can build and get stronger by listening to it. That healing and getting stronger is a natural progression of the body. We don't have to force it to do something it's screaming at you to stop in order to get there. So by sharing these series, I hope that it's just, again, Koga is a completely free form, completely unguided, undirected type of thing. So this series is not about, hey, do these videos over and over and over again. I'm only going to be like sharing just some guidelines. I'm just going to be sharing the way that I would start off doing it, and hopefully that will be enough to plant the seed that you'll want to engage in this and maybe explore it with your own body, but again, explore it on your own. So thank you for joining me, and I hope that this maybe can help you or maybe give you something else to add into your arsenal that can make your body even healthier and more appreciated in your life. Thanks.